Okay, I thought today I would share with you the proper way to paint a firearm. There's a lot of people that do it a lot of different ways, and I get a kick out of everybody on YouTube painting it with Krylon. And to me, you don't paint a firearm with a rattle can. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you, and I've started the process. Basically, you take your firearm totally apart and you have to degrease it. To degrease it, I just use a really clean rag and lacquer thinner. And that just removes all the oils, the greases, the things like that. And then I start masking. And I start masking the parts that I don't want to paint. And then I've bent these wires and I'll tape it to the wire so that I can paint the parts and then hang it to dry. So I'm just getting everything ready right now. As you're masking, there's a cool trick that you can do. So I have started masking off this upper, and I'm masking the parts that I don't want to paint. And you can take, after you get your masking on there, and I hope you can see this good, but you can take a razor blade and run it right along the edges to cut your tape off. And it's just a handy, easy way to do this. And it leaves the tape where I want it and just trims it away flush. So anyway, I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to get everything masked, and then I'll show you some of the painting process. Okay, now we're all masked and ready to go. The paint that we're going to use is a Dura Coat paint. Now this paint, this isn't cheap. A bottle this size, this is a 4 fluid ounce bottle. It'll go a lot farther than what you think. This bottle would paint probably typically about 3 rifles. So it goes a lot farther than you would think it would. But what's really nice about this is you actually mix it with a hardener. It's heat resistant. You know, I've painted this on barrels and then got the barrel really hot. It doesn't hurt the paint. It doesn't discolor it. And it's a really good hard paint. Very durable. I've even had it to where I've painted an upper receiver where your bullets come out and hit that, and you would think it would just chip that paint off, and it wears really, really good. The other thing that's cool about this paint is on like a high wear area or something like that, you can actually do a couple of coats and build up that mil thickness of paint, and it's very, very durable. You do want to take care not to get it in anywhere that's a machine surface, that parts are going to ride against each other. So that's why we go through and we really mask everything off really good, make sure that everything's covered up, and then we're going to get over and start painting. Okay, so we're ready to paint. I've got the paint mixed up and then this little gun, and I've found that this little detail gun, this is just a cheap little automotive detail gun, and it works really good. It's a little overkill in that you're going to mix up a little more paint than perhaps you need. I've used an airbrush, and I like an airbrush for detail stuff, but I've just found that this gun is a lot easier. One of the problems with an airbrush is the spray dries so fast as it hits, you don't get an even wet coat. And an even wet coat is important in drying and not having certain areas flash and look a little different sheen. So I've just found that this one's a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint this part. This is all ready to go, it's masked. And I'm just going to put a real even coat on this. And the trick is to get everywhere. There's a lot of little areas and details that I want to make sure that we get coated. Now you can do this outdoors, good air movement. I work and own a cabinet shop, so I'm kind of blessed in that I get to use a spray booth for this. Makes it kind of nice. Basically, we just want to make sure that everywhere gets hit. And this is our base coat color. Basically, what I'm going to be doing on this gun is a kind of a multi-cam type look. So there, I'm done right there. I've got everywhere. Looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hang this up to dry. Now I'm going to go through all the parts and make sure that everything is painted that color, and then we'll come back and do some more colors. Okay, as you can see, we have our base coat done. And what I've done is I've used 3 different colors. I painted everything this flat dark earth color first, and then I have 2 different colors that I just put in bandings on the gun. What I did, I created a sketch and kind of where I wanted the color to flow, so it flows from the upper and lower. Basically what we're going to do now is we're going to apply our stencils. Now the stencils, I cut the stencils. My wife has a machine that does the sign making vinyl and cuts the shape, so we can design in the computer what we want it to cut, and it'll just plot it out in the machine. You can see there's some mirage grid work. This is one that's kind of cool. It's actually kind of a netting. I don't know if you can see that on the computer, but it's kind of a fun look as well. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, so when you apply it, you can kind of get a netting look to it. It's kind of neat. You don't have to have a machine like that to do cut your stencils. You can actually go to an art supply place and buy a stuff called frisket film, and they use it in airbrushing, and you can just sketch out what you want and cut it. But I like to take advantage of that cool machine. So basically what I've got is I've got some different stencils of the different camo shapes that I want to put on this. And basically what we do, we just apply it where we want it over the gun. Now let's put this one on just a little. And you just lightly stick it down where you want it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mask off the other areas that we don't want affected and the paint. And we just apply a little bit of paint. Very simple. Okay, now we're going to apply some color to that piece that we just masked. And I just really lightly, just a real light coat. Now, as you can see, we're going to carefully peel away our mask. And we're going to carefully peel this stencil back. And that's what we're creating. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep repeating this process. Then just a pattern that I like over the gun, I'm going to mix about 3 different colors to do 3 different colors of camo on it, and I will show you when it's all done. Okay, now all the layers are done. Basically I've just taken each stencil and just kind of layered them on top of each other. This is a little bit time consuming because you have to allow it to dry. But now at this point, we can start to strip off all of our masking, and basically we'll have our completed and painted uppers and lowers. I'm going to go through and pull all the masking off. I'll assemble the firearm and show you the completed project. Okay, here we are all complete and reassembled. I think it turned out pretty nice. Holding it up against something else that's multicam, turned out really good. Basically the colors that I used are these right here, Dura Coat colors. Now you can find this, just look up Dura Coat on the internet. It's pretty easy to find. The colors I used were Combat Green, Desert Mirage Sand, Magpul Flat Dark Earth, and Underbrush. But there's a ton of different colors and styles and different things that you can do when doing this, and it's just kind of fun to make it your own. Do whatever it is that you would like to do, but I really love to paint with this. Again, it really is the best material to paint with because it's a harder, more durable finish. Anyway, go paint some guns. It's pretty fun.